All right, hobby homesteaders, welcome back to Peaks Peak. Today we are going to start rolling out plastic and putting our boards across the front. We'll actually probably put a board dividing down the middle because I'm going to pour this in 2 separate pourings just to make sure that I can handle it, since I've never poured concrete before. So we're going to get started getting all that set up, and then we'll show you the progress along the way. Okay, so I went ahead and I put my 2x6s in the doorway, and I got the transit set up, and what I did was I set those 2x6s about a 1/2 inch lower than the level of the concrete grade, because we want to make sure that we can slope that angle down outside of the doors, because you know those are set just outside the doorway, so any rain that hits that concrete, we want to make sure that it runs away. So that was kind of how I set that up. And then Cameron is over here marking the lines in on the walls with Sharpie, because our chalk line didn't take on the styrofoam. So we're kind of just giving ourselves a better eyeball point for when we're setting the level of the concrete. I don't know, that all didn't work out quite as well as I had hoped, but it's kind of where the styrofoam comes down to the level of the concrete or even below it in a few places. I don't know, we could have probably planned that out a little better, but you know, all of this project, I kind of have decided on, you know, dimensions of the building and how we go about insulating and all of those things based on a couple of the major factors for me, and that is budget and my ability. For instance, you know, the size of the building, I mean, we might have liked to have had 4 bays or who knows what, but our budget allowed for this size of building, so that's what we went with. Height-wise, we probably could have went 14 feet, and that would have been nice, but we're afraid of heights, so adding another 2 feet on top of what we were doing, I felt like that would be out of the realm of what we could handle, so we didn't do that. Lots of people have made good suggestions about things like floor drains and that kind of thing. I might like to have floor drains in it, but where I'm trying to pour this concrete for myself for the first time, I think it's going to be enough for me to figure out how to get it level. So to add in the other factor of trying to get it sloped toward the drains and all that, I just feel like that's probably a little more than I'm ready for. And I'm willing to, you know, miss out on having floor drains to do the process myself and learn from it. So I'm always trying to balance those things. So, you know, sometimes when people make suggestions, I want to do whatever it is they suggested, but I'm just not either able to afford it or able to do it because I don't know how. So that's kind of how I operate. But anyway, we are ready. We've got our grade set. So now I'm going to roll out the plastic. We are going to snippy this right here. See if we can get it cut. All right, got our plastic rolled out. Worked great, got a little bit left over. We had plenty of plastic so that we could overlap it and kind of make the middle thickness a little bit better. We've got a roll of wire that one of my neighbors gave to me, so I'm gonna go get it and bring it in here. We're not gonna roll it out tonight, but we'll get it brought in here, put these tools away, and then we're gonna run up and take a look at the pond tonight. And so we'll get back at it tomorrow night. Yeah, fire it up.
When it hits hot?
It's good. Give it just a little bit of throttle. That's good right there. Now let's slide your seat forward. There you go. All right. There you go. Remember, you're on the reverse pedal, and you push the forward pedal when you want to stop moving. Because it kind of resets, but not totally. Use your heel. That way you can use your toe for the forward. See? Excellent. See if you can slide it up on there. looking good. Watch your fingers, don't cut yourself. Can you pick it up? There you go. Menace, excellent job. Excellent job. Alright guys, so I'll tell you, I've been accused of being a cheapskate before, because I don't like to waste money. And I'll save supplies or collect supplies from people that have leftover that they're not gonna use, stack it behind the barn or behind the shed, and sometimes I even forget what I have. So I was doing some brainstorming today because I had priced out the rest of the wire that I needed to finish this project out, and it was going to be about $400 worth of wire and then the rebar on top of that. So I started trying to think of ways that I might be able to cut that cost down, and it hit me that I have a good partial roll of woven wire fence left over, and I also have a few sheets of wire mesh that my father-in-law gave me back a long time ago, and I stuck behind the building. So I did some research on the woven wire mesh because I assume it's stainless steel because it's meant to not rust. And so I did some research on whether you can put stainless steel in concrete, and I found that actually in some places they're going to a stainless steel mesh for the reasons of keeping the rust and things down. So I don't see any reason why I can't put that woven wire fence in here. I even looked up the cost of fence versus the wire mesh that you put in concrete, and it's actually a little bit cheaper, so it's not a waste to put it in here. If I need more fence, I can go buy more fence, but I've got this here now, so I'm gonna put it in here. Now, some of you may comment later and say, oh, you shouldn't have done that for this reason or that reason. Go right ahead, comment that, because if there's some reason why it shouldn't be used, then I want that to be available to people so they can make a wise decision. But in my mind, I don't see any reason not to. So I plan on being around on YouTube for years. If I have problems, I'll come back and tell you about it. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it in there because it's going to save me about $300. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that, roll it out, and see if that covers the rest of what I've got to cover. Basically, I need to cover everything except this little pit area in the middle where I'm gonna put my rebar. I bought my rebar chairs today, and my son's gonna go pick up the actual rebar tomorrow because I wasn't driving my truck today, so he'll take his truck and pick up that rebar. And that should be everything we need to kind of get this buttoned up and ready to roll. And on Monday. So yeah, just a few more days, we'll be pouring some concrete out in here. Get all the way up and throw it up. There you go. All right, stand on it, don't get up, that way I can turn it down. I'd say at this point you can recognize what it is. And I also recognize some guys that are hard workers. That is miserable. putting up sheet metal in heavy winds and pouring rain. Guys are earning their money today. All right, so we got the rest of our wire put out. We're gonna tie it all together now, and then we'll start setting up our rebar chairs and putting our rebar out and getting that all set up. There's the progress across the road. They're catching up to me. Here's the progress in here. So yesterday we finished putting out our wire mesh and we got our center divider board put in for our concrete grade. And once we got that done, we started testing our grade inside here, and everything on the outside edges, which we focused on mostly, is good. But our center pit was actually too deep, and we were looking at about 8 inches worth of concrete, which is a little more than I wanted to pour there. So this morning, Cameron came out and he slung some gravel in here to kind of bring up the level to more like 6.5, no more than 7 inches of depth. So I am getting ready to set up the rebar in here, so we'll be ready to roll with that. And I'm actually going to drill holes through these center boards and run the rebar through it so that it will extend through both sides of the concrete and connect the two together. And then when I get done to take the divider out, I'll just slide it off of the rebar and get it out of the way. But that's what I'm going to work on right now. I haven't decided. I may put some more grade stakes in if I have any rebar left over, but we're just about to wrap this up, and then I may form up a sidewalk or two out beside the building just to have a place to pour excess concrete if we have any left over. I expect we probably will, and I don't want that to go to waste. If I can have some sidewalks and stuff, then that'll be nice too. Call me spoiled, but it's 36 degrees outside. I'm kind of chilly, so I'm gonna keep the heat on. All right, we're formed up. We've got rebar in our pit. We've got mesh wire everywhere else. And in true Peaks Peak fashion, we tried a few things, maybe a little bit different than most people would do it, but we saved a little bit of money. We used up some supplies that otherwise were just kind of sitting around rusting in the corner. So hopefully that works out well for us. So we'll see how all that goes. But anyway, man, I'll tell you, I'm super excited to start getting this pour going. I think at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video before I trip over another one of these grade stakes and fall down and ram it in my knee and have to call off the pour. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed seeing me prepare this mess and get ready for some concrete. I will be setting up the camera and at least getting some time-lapse footage of the pour. I may try to get my daughter or somebody to grab the camera and do some actual recording if that's possible, but if it's not, I'm gonna be working, so probably the best I'll be able to do is just hit the time-lapse button and let it record while we work. So we'll see how all that plays out, but come back and check it out. Thank y'all for watching. Have a good day.